Hey, thank you so much for joining us. We are glad that you are here. This is a special place where we get to talk about music, the way it makes us feel, the emotions, the way it makes us move, but also the way that it affects our mental health, which music and mental health are so interrelated. So we're glad that you're here. HeartSupport is a nonprofit. We bring mental health support to the music scene. So thank you for joining us. We also have a very special guest today, Robyn Ward, who is a professional therapist in the UK. She has experience both in the social welfare system, working with people from all different kinds of trauma backgrounds, but also she is a senior children's well-being practitioner and soon to be high intensity trauma therapist. And so it's very cool that you have so much expertise with a full range of what people are going through. And Ren has such an interesting background that for you bringing in your wealth of experience, pairing Ren as the Shakespearean bard with Robyn as the trauma expert, it's going to be really cool to piece this one, to tease all of the concepts out of this one. It's going to be Troubles by Ren. Robyn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it's such an honor to be here.
Hey, and also, if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you should absolutely follow Robyn. She is the metal therapist, and her content brings this beautiful, it's just like HeartSupport, brings this beautiful blend of music and mental health. It's fun. She's lively. She's got so much energy and positivity. And if you're on there and want to inject your feed with some amazing content, please follow her. We'll put her links in the description below. I just want to, I was reading that. He said, it's 5 seconds into the video, but I just want to put a pin in this. He said, the harder I tried to find answers and didn't, the more my body deteriorated. In your last video in Sick Boy, you talked about how physical and mental health are interrelated. And I just think that that's so interesting that as Hope deteriorated in his mental health, his body, the symptoms, his experience, his pain got worse. I think that was really interesting.
And I think that happens quite a lot with things like depression, anxiety. It's such a visceral physical experience that absolutely it can then play out when it comes to other physical symptoms.
I don't reach into the past very much for these shards of shattered glass and harsh paper cuts. Leave me stuck when I reach in, memories are seeping. Hydrochloric acid, I go to war and get passive and freeze up. Music help the ice to thaw. Put the chisel in the middle, swing the hammer of Thor. Pull it out of the impossible, Excalibur sword. Etching notepads full of reasons why my feelings are sore. The first day that I got sick, ejected from the cockpit of living. 19, young teen, waking up.
I love that. So I love that imagery there with the cockpit. The first day he got sick, he was ejected from the cockpit of living. What does that tell us? It tells us before that he felt in control. Whereas now he's sick. This feels like something that's completely out of control for him. And he's just having to relinquish everything. And we don't know where this plane's going to go. And that can feel so scary. He's also saying about his physical health getting worse with his mental health. Again, we're just seeing that play out. Can I also say I love the imagery with this because I'm a bit of a sucker for stuff like this, camera angles and things like that. The camera angles are all looking up. There's a real sense of kind of like grandiosity, is that the word? And he's saying things like swinging the hammer of Thor, which is I wonder if, again, I'm getting sort of vibes of psychosis there, because one of the very, very common symptoms of psychosis is feelings of grandeur, right? Kind of like an inflated sense of power or status or importance in a sense. Interesting angles.
I don't reach into the past very much for these shards of shattered glass and harsh paper cuts. Leave me stuck when I reach it.
Yeah, again, that is so visual when it comes to trauma specifically, because looking into the past is so prickly and sharp, and it's just such a visual representation of that. In fact, when I was doing my training, the very first explanation that I ever received of trauma was so powerful. It was an analogy just like that, where the tutor came around with a puzzle, and they were saying when a typical person looks back into the past, they see complete pictures like this. The pieces all fit together. It doesn't evoke much emotion, unless it's, something that's really happy for you, or maybe a sad memory, and, all the sort of typical emotions that you might experience. Whereas with trauma, what happens is, and this tutor just kind of bashed all the puzzle pieces, went everywhere, all over the tables, like on our clothes, like everywhere. That is what happens when a brain experiences trauma. Ooh. The pieces are everywhere. It's so difficult to process because it's not a complete picture. And not only that, but now when you find one of these, because it's not a complete picture, it feels very emotive, and that's where the prickliness comes in. It's sharp, because it's almost like a hot potato. Like, you don't want to hold it. I just really like that imagery, really.
Memories are seeped in hydrochloric acid. I go to war and get passive and freeze up. Music held the ice to thaw. Put the chisel in the middle, swing the hammer of Thor. Pull it out of the impossible, Excalibur sword. Etching notepads full of reasons why my feelings are sore. The first day that I got sick, ejected from the cockpit of living. 19, young teen, waking up bitten. Posters up, manhunt, Ren went missing. Hard to have faith when the gods don't listen. The first year maybe was the hardest. Waking in the body that was buried like a carcass. Brain in the lion's den, body in the shark pit. Waking up in pain again, aching, broken hearted. Persistent little blogger, I was bouncing from a doctor to a doctor to a doctor, like a table tennis game that has no end. So be the fate of Ren. Every single question answered with a question on the end. The second year I came to terms with giving up my dreams. Mine was severed from the means to help me write these rhyme schemes. Brain was inflamed, the fatigue was crushing. Hard to remain sane with your brain combusting. And the third year was mine.
Also with this, it just feels like there's so much, again, that ebb and flow. There's so much feeling out of control. Like I'm not, like he said, I'm not in the cockpit of my life anymore. I'm so out of control, but there's still this sense of like he's staring it in the face and kind of facing up to it in a way, because he's kind of a bit passive about it.
One of the things that's coming up for me is, I guess there's a couple of things. One is the detail and the metaphor of describing pain for people who don't understand chronic pain. Like, I feel like he's making that approachable. You can see it, you can feel it, you can understand it. And I really like that. But the second thing is that he's flying by. Like, one stanza is a year. The next stanza is a year. The next stanza is a year. First of all, I like that he's taking us year by year. But second of all, like, could you imagine suffering for that long? Having 4 lines to try to let someone into the hell you were experiencing moment by moment, day by day. It's like, that's long suffering, dude. To have 4 lines to try to bring someone into that experience is both like an honor to be able to try to depict that to someone else. I feel like he does his Shakespearean bard thing where he really brings you into it. But on the other hand, it's like, could you imagine being that person and trying to convey so much suffering in such small amount of space? It's like just very interesting.
Yeah, what I really like about Ren's lyrics is that they're so visual. Like, the metaphors are so easy to understand and digestible, but at the same time, we can really see and understand just how prickly this feels for him. Like the lion's den, all you're envisioning is kind of sharp, that, the shark pit, the sharpness of it, how helpless he's feeling.
Living in a purgatory full of worry, wouldn't live to be 30. Lifestyle hurt me, always in my bed tomb. Rearrange the alphabet and all the letters spell doom. Light hurt my eyes, popping pills to survive. When you're 23 and mentally you steadily decline. 24 I was poor, disability benefits. What's the benefit of disability? It's irrelevant. 25 and the scars that were etched, they crack. Elastic bands only stretch so far and then snap. Deep in psychosis, hallucinations, troubled vision. Visits from the underworld but conjuring my superstition. 25 living back at home with my mom, but not because I'm a bum, alone and physically done. So thin, so so frail, so weak at the con, and my skin so pale, never kissed by the sun. One time I carved a hole in my chest just to feel. I wish that was a metaphor, the struggle was real. When you're living in the Holocaust, you buckle and kneel. There's relief in the teeth of the kiss of cold steel. 26.
Ooh, again, chills. The references to self-harm there. And it just goes to show how quickly these types of things can turn into that, you know. And he mentioned about self-medicating as well. Very quickly can spiral out of control. Mentioned about his time living with mum, you know. He's telling us it's not because I'm a bum. I wonder if there's that sort of shame there with that, you know. But actually, we all need a support network somewhere. Like, it's okay. It's okay that happened, but it's like he feels a need to clarify that it's not because I'm, you know, it's because I'm struggling so much and I can't look after myself. I need help.
I was just telling my son, we're talking about, you know, vulnerability and humility, and it's really hard. We're talking about conflict, right? It's hard when you do something wrong to admit it when you feel someone else has done you wrong as well. And you need to point out their wrong before admitting you're wrong because you don't want to be the first one who's weak. Humility is this reverse feeling where we feel weak, but other people actually view us as strong. When I see people choosing to take care of their mental health, I don't think, what a bum. I think like, man, this is somebody who is self-aware and courageous enough to take care of themselves. For people to take that courageous step is really is honorable, not dishonorable.
The other thing that sort of cropped up for me there as well, though, with regards to the self-harm thing, there is a sense of control in that. You know, everything in my life, what we've already discussed is at this point is feeling completely out of control. Everything in my life has been taken over by this chronic illness. I'm going to take back some control and I'm going to self-medicate and I'm going to, you know, turn to self-harm, which a lot of that can be about the sense of I'm in control of this pain. You might be taking control, you know, the trauma, whatever, maybe taking control of everything else. But at least this is a pain I have control over.
I think there's also just with self-harm, like when I'm imagining, because he's told us so much story, right? We're in year 6 or 7 when he's talking about self-harm, 25, 26, when it started at 19. When you're in an experience of so much sameness, where it's one way of life that you aren't in control of. It's almost like if you had someone rub on you over and over and over again, it's like at some point it becomes like inconvenient. At some point it becomes annoying. At some point it becomes torture. Not being able to control when someone is doing this, like this sensation, it's like the sameness of it, even if it's not painful in and of itself, the sameness erodes you. It erodes your ability to like be okay with that sensation. And so self-harm feels like scratching instead of rubbing. It's like the relief of change, to have something that causes you to just experience something different. I even love like the word that he used, like the cold steel. It brings to mind like the coldness is something that's like a shocking sense. And it's like self-harm can feel like that shocking difference. And even though it's still pain, it's just different than everything else. I think that is one of the things that to me helps self-harm make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to feel something different and I want to be in control of that. Again, really, really powerful and visual, so visual.
I'm highly medicated and the pain sophisticated while I'm lying broken naked on my back. I bore my microphone until my coffin started dropping raw thoughts with the grim reaper knocking on the track. But then, man, lo and behold, I heard an angel beckon on this treacherous road. Was a stem cell doctor with a generous glow. In the cell transplant pulled me out of the cold. And my skin got younger and my body got stronger. And my stomach felt hunger for a door that was closed. And my soul heard music for the first time. Beauty was a word I'd use for this gift of gold. Oh Lord, I forgive you. Lord, I forgive you. Lord, I forgive you. Make me whole. This music I give you. Pain that I live through. Everything I've been through is yours to hold.
I think it's so interesting. The majority of the song is this long journey, and then you get like one stanza that transitions into the message of hope. And can you tell me about clients or patients that you've had that are in the middle of that 7-year journey and there literally is no glimmer of hope, of the stem cell doctor that comes right now? Again, not everyone gets that kind of message of hope, you know what I'm saying? And especially when you're 4 years in or 14 years in or 24 years into the long suffering, how do you work with people in that spot?
It's really hard, because one thing I'm picking up from this as well is that it wasn't necessarily, even though for him it was like this angel of this stem cell doctor that came in, there was glimmers of other things there as well, because he said about moving in with his mum. That's the support network element. Then he talked about music, bringing music in, and that was a real lifeline for him. It met him where he was at. He said he brought it into his coffin. That's what it felt like for him. He was bringing that to him rather than the other way around, if that makes sense. So he was meeting himself where he was at, but then there was also this like physical health element of it as well. But I just wonder whether a lot of that other stuff, if that framework hadn't have been there, if that journey hadn't have been there, would he have even met this angel that came into his life? So I guess what I'm trying to say is not to invalidate that, you know, things can feel really, really hard on that journey, but sometimes there are a bunch of things that happen in that journey that can lead you to the very thing that's going to change everything. There is always that glimmer of hope there. And so I guess that's the message I really want to get out from this, is that there's always hope. There's always something to cling on to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this was a fantastic track, and Ren certainly lives up to his reputation as the Shakespearean bard. We're so glad that you were able to join us. We have another Heal the Scene story of one of our good friends, Todd Coughlin, and he was impacted by a suicide in his local area, and experiencing the communal trauma of the loss of an innocent life inspired him to do something about it. And it can feel really difficult to find a way to make a difference when, first of all, you can't change the trauma of the past, the tragedy you experienced, but it is an act of defiant hope to say, I can do something for someone else. So Todd started to get involved with HeartSupport and using his company's match donating system to double and sometimes triple the amount that he was giving to HeartSupport. And over the many years, he was able to create and is continuing to create a phenomenal impact for people in our music scene. And so if you are like Todd and you have a company who chooses to match your donations, there's opportunities to create wonderful impact for people who love the same music as you through HeartSupport. So if you want to hear Todd's story, you can see his full story, interview, etc. in the caption of this video. And if you want to do something for other people and be a part of this movement with us, you can also become a volunteer. We train you, we walk alongside you, and we make an impact together. And you can sign up to be a volunteer in the caption below. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Robyn, for being here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.